Gangster and bank robber, woo, see what I did there? Bank robber John Dillinger is not going to be resting in peace in a couple of months. His body is being exhumed to find out if it's even his body in his grave at all. It's a whale of a tale surrounding a larger-than-life figure, and it's on our minds tonight because John Dillinger once called this place home. St. Paul in the late 20s and 1930s was a place some of the most notorious gangsters called home.
Babyface Nelson lived here. Machine Gun Kelly lived here.
John Dillinger spent some time here.
John Dillinger lived in St. Paul, Minnesota for quite a few months because he was safe here. We were the safe haven for virtually every hitman and kidnapper in America.
Paul Maccabee knows all of this all so well, as he wrote the book on it.
And I'm the author of the book, John Dillinger Slept Here.
Slept here and held immunity here, Dillinger and others did, through an off-the-books deal with the St. Paul police.
And they said, listen, if you're a bank robber, kidnapper, assassin, you can come to St. Paul, but you have to be on your best behavior. You have to promise not to kill anybody in St. Paul.
It was a pact we can't really deal with in our 2019 minds, but it was one nonetheless. And for Dillinger, it was kind of short-lived. But St. Paul was his home base, where he planned and orchestrated some of his biggest heists, outside the city, of course.
It was here that he had a shootout with the FBI. And from St. Paul, it's where he planned bank robberies all over the Midwest.
Rob banks he did, and those crimes and the time he committed them made him something of a bad guy people didn't despise.
He was such a Robin Hood figure, John Dillinger was. Nobody liked the banks. Everybody hated the banks. This was after the Depression, when people in Minnesota and throughout the Midwest lost their homes, lost their farms, and here comes John Dillinger. That's why Dillinger was such a folk hero at the time, and I don't think we can imagine our folk heroes can die.
Yeah, some just couldn't believe J. Edgar Hoover's FBI really gunned Dillinger down in the 1930s. And that, along with rumors that Dillinger outsmarted the feds with physical changes and body doubles, leads us to now. A family member's request his body be exhumed to run a DNA test to find out if the buried Dillinger really is the gangster Dillinger.
That he somehow escaped justice. It's romantic that he escaped J. Edgar Hoover.
Spoiler alert, Mr. Maccabee thinks Dillinger did die that day. The exhumation that was requested by the family is going to be in Indiana, September 16th. Those digging up Dillinger's body, however, is going to encounter a heavily fortified grave. You see, Dillinger's dad had his casket buried under a concrete cap, scrap iron, and 4 slabs of reinforced concrete. Why? Well, he was afraid his son's fame would draw vandals and people intent on stealing the body. What a time that was to be alive, so stay tuned to September.